Welcome back to Grid Long Island 495 Group, and this month we're going to talk about how to estimate renovations, one of my favorite subjects. So we always start off with, what is Grid? So Grid is a global real estate community built for investors and by investors, and so we're not gurus, we're actually just people that are out there, real people doing real deals. And our mission is to connect, learn from, and collaborate with like-minded people interested in building wealth and creating impact through real estate. And so we're on a wealth building journey, and the goal is to achieve the income flip by building and buying assets that generate passive income so great that it covers our monthly household expenses. And we do this by following the 7 levels of wealth. And when we reach a level where our passive income streams support our lifestyle, we call that the income flip. So who am I? My name is Josh Wally. I am the associate real estate broker for Douglas Elliman Real Estate, co-founder of Grid 495 Group, and local real estate investor. And my big point in running this group is I want to connect with people who want to build wealth through real estate, do deals, and learn from you. And so go back, important legal stuff. So I'm not an attorney. I am not an accountant. I am a realtor, but I'm not an expert in all these fields. So we're going to talk over the year about certain strategies. We invite you to take those strategies and bounce them off the people that actually have a license or a degree to manage those things. So in this particular module, some points to consider. So if you're starting to do deals at scale, where opportunity is coming to you over and over again, it's not efficient, nor do we have the time, the energy, or the interest to go into this deep dive for every single property that comes across our desk. So for the business to be efficient, you have to have a tool to quickly estimate and analyze potential costs and profits from a deal to speed up the process of making offers and be able to make what we call reasonably comfortable or certain decisions. So over the course of several hundred rehabs, consultations, and all this good stuff, we've developed a framework for general costs for typical renovations. And it, with historical data, square foot information from completed deals, and you can take all this stuff and boil it all down together to a bunch of averages. So, but the more you know, the better. So search past listings, aerial views, Google Street Maps, tax records, figure out everything that you have, use all the tools available to you to find out as much as you possibly know about that particular property. So even without additional information beyond square footage and location, we find most renovations, when we use this formula, land within about $10,000 of the average. So with an appropriate contingency, we say escape route from the contract, our estimates are good enough to make offers and qualify leads. So one of the assumptions, it should go without saying, but never buy a property sight unseen. We just don't recommend it. So the goal is for this module and this bit of information is to prioritize leads, make offers that we have an intent to close on, but we also have an escape route, and that can be finalized after we go and inspect that property personally, and we actually get a pool of contractor estimates. And what we're really out to figure out is what we call the magic formula here. So the magic formula is the maximum allowable offer, or we call MAO. So developing your MAO is key to making money and avoiding losing money. So you can't renovate your way out of a bad deal. The market won't save you from a bad deal, and especially where the market is starting to soften a little bit, it's more important to buy and renovate smartly. But the question always is, without going on this big deep dive and walking through it and doing this big takeoff here, how do we get a decent cost to renovate? And we've done that by breaking renovations into 4 different levels of renovation. So number 1 is what we call rental grade. So if we're acquiring a property and we're going to keep it in our rental portfolio, we really do what we call fix what's broken. Paint, carpet, minor repair. So this is going to include white appliances, very low cost tile, Home Depot fixtures. No, we're not living there, but we want it to be clean, neat, and serviceable, and for our tenants to have pride of ownership. But it doesn't need to go too far because we're going to turn this property over. Wear and tear is going to be significant. So we figured on this one, we try to factor in about $20 a square foot. Number 2 is a simple rehab. So this is where we'll come like we do what we call pull and replace. So we'll replace all fixtures in their existing location, switch plates, all that good stuff, paint, entry grade carpet or hardwoods. We will do stone in the kitchens, but we try to stay on the cheaper end of that. And we throw in about $4,000 for an extra, like roofing or AC unit, some other repair that we really couldn't see. And so for a simple rehab, when we're adding in our cost to renovate, we do square footage times $40 a square foot. Number 3 is a basic remodel. So that's everything in the simple rehab, but we will like replace doors, windows, trim, and bring it up to the next level, right? Because we're going to sell this property out on the open market, and we're trying to take it to a different echelon. So we might move or remove 1 or 2 walls or combine open spaces, do minor plumbing and electrical stuff to like move around a kitchen and a bath. And in this one, we up that little contingency to about $8,000 for like roof or driveway or HVAC repairs. And on that, so basic remodel number 3, we factor in about $50 a square foot for our renovation. So the major remodel, this is a big deal. We're going like full gut rehab. So that's going to include our major systems, roof, HVAC, deck, porch, all that good stuff. So we will complete major plumbing and electrical initiatives in there. Maybe we'll add a bath, second kitchen, finish basements, etc. This level adds an element to the property that doesn't really currently exist and typically involves significant framing and structural work. So for that one, we factor in about $70 a square foot. So I kept talking about like where square foot, right? So we take this dollar per square foot multiplier, multiply it by our square foot. So where do we get it? So for me, I'm a realtor. I will look at the multiple listing services where realtors share our listings, and there's public records associated with that. And so we will oftentimes find square footage in there. The other part, if you're not a realtor or don't have a realtor buddy, which I suggest that you do, you can go in and pull those things from the tax records. Certain municipalities will also have a like property portal, as they'll say, where they'll have bedroom, bathroom count, square footage, and things like that. Here locally, Suffolk County, sometimes not all the municipalities play nice. So we do have a function which we call a FOIL, which is Freedom of Information legislation, where we can go get the assessor's property record card. And the assessor's property record card generally tells us a lot about that property, including square footage. So a little rule of thumb here, use the highest number. So if you're doing something off paper and you're doing a little desktop analysis on this deal that came across your office, use the highest square footage possible, right? So we say like if it's on MLS, total square foot, right? Building size. But the big part is like ultimately we're just trying to compute the highest logical number of square feet that we intend to actually renovate. So the square foot number in the tax record may not be like the most accurate. So remember, like perfect is the enemy of done. But it's consistent enough to be a resource. So tax records in the MLS, if you have your realtor friend, you generally will pull from the assessor's office. But you can use a lot of other tools like Google Earth, low-flying aerials, MLS, locally Suffolk County GIS, which is Global Information Services. That Suffolk County GIS website tells you a ton of information. And you also want to kind of like look at these overheads of this property just to see, is there something in that property that may not be included in the assessor record. So look for like additions, condition, crazy condition stuff, or real like funky stuff that might add to your renovation costs that you don't want to be surprised by when you show up. So, in closing, final thoughts. Max allowable offer (MAO) is ARV times 0.7 minus CTR. So I'm going to turn that into English. So MAO is max allowable offer, and that is equal to my after repair value. So after repair value is fully retail. What is this property going to sell for? So after repair value times 0.7. So we want to pay 70% of after repair value minus my cost to renovate. And that's the tough one. There's two variable numbers in that formula. It's important. So after repair value, you're going to need a good valuation software or a realtor or a good gut. That's why we buy in places that we know. So after repair value times 0.7 minus your cost to repair, which is square footage times your square foot multiplier based on the level of renovation that you intend to do. So important to put all these things together. Remember, money lives in the math. So if you enjoyed this little bit of instruction and you want to connect with us a little bit further, where do you find us? gridfacebookgroup.com. You can also RSVP for other events at gridlocalevents.com. We hope that you got a little bit out of this. And now, education without action is absolutely useless. So go out there, take massive action, and go make a bunch of money. And we'll see you next time.